So I did like a Kourtney Kardashian where I pulled the baby out. I got to do that with my second. It was so much easier.
Like this?
Yeah.
That's
and you
the thing.
put haven't you seen Kourtney Kardashian has it on her, it's on one of the episodes, I don't know.
I have to admit,
Most
I
girls,
do not follow her.
I don't either.
Should I?
No, but, no, but that was like a big...
All right, we are here with Lydia. How are you, Lydia?
I'm good.
It's been a while.
I know, I haven't seen you for a little bit.
Well,
Hi.
when we do see each other, it's always a good time.
It's a joyful experience.
You have incredible events that you guys put on, and that's
Thank
usually
you.
the time when I can get out of the house
Yes.
and put a suit on and hang around and get a couple cocktails.
Yes,
right?
I always see you really dapper at a Nobleman event. I like it.
We're here. This is called Nobody Cares, as you know, and one of the reasons why I want to have you on here, I just want to have an open conversation about who you are, because I feel like you wear a lot of different hats.
Yeah.
You do,
Yes.
respectfully.
Thank you.
You're a mother, you're a wife, entrepreneur. You get the house thing that I would definitely want to talk about.
You've done so much homework.
You've done some, well, you know, I know you too as well. You're an avid fitness person. You
Yes.
enjoy your workouts.
Yes.
You're a clean eater. I do know this too as well. But more importantly, of all those things, you're pretty deep into your faith.
Yes.
I want to touch on that too as well.
I'm excited. No one cares.
No one cares. Maybe somebody does. We're going to find out, right? So let's take it back to, where'd you grow up? How'd you grow up? Where'd you grow up?
So I actually am a dual citizen. I'm Canadian. I know, that's usually the face I get. I'm from a small island in Canada called Newfoundland.
There's islands?
There is an island on the east coast. It's
Okay.
where Titanic kind of sank. So it's as far northeast as you can go.
How many times have you said that?
A million.
Okay.
And because everyone's like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
And it's called Newfoundland, and it's pronounced like Disneyland.
Okay.
And I grew up there, and it was very different than California. So my dad is from there, and
Okay.
my mom's from California. She's from San Diego.
Okay.
So they're literally from like as far away as you could be in North America from each other.
Right.
And my dad came from a Canadian like media family. So
Okay.
my grandfather invented 24-hour television.
No way.
Yeah, so he's like a really big deal, I guess, in Canada.
Come on.
So he's amazing. He was a maverick. He was like very a visionary and eccentric and
Okay.
didn't care and had a big role in who I am. And so my dad was doing kind of movies, and so he wanted to cast like models, and so he saw my mom and he cast her in his movie.
Oh.
And she played a green goddess, and it was before like reality TV or anything like that.
Right.
But he had a holy man because it was during the Beatles and like hippie movement.
Right.
So it was like, I want these models and they'll be in different colors, and I want them to ask them, the holy man, anything. And so that was the job. So my mom wore all green, and she was this like beautiful model in her 20s, and she had to ask this holy man a question. They didn't say like what the question
Okay.
would be. So her question was, why am I not satisfied? And it resonated with my dad. And my mom thought my dad was gay because he like didn't come on to her or anything. But then when they finally got together, they never left. So they've been together 50 years.
And at that point, your mother was reassured that
He's not gay.
he's not gay.
Yeah, I guess her lips were swollen from like their night together.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah, that's our family legacy.
She was busy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were awesome, and they
Yeah.
still are. They're amazing. Yeah. So those were my parents. So
Okay.
I was raised like kind of in Newfoundland, but then always heard about California and how
yeah.
it was sunny.
Yeah.
And so my mom basically, when I was going to go into middle school, was like, okay, we can't do another winter here.
So you were born there?
I was born in LA.
Okay.
And then we moved there when I was 2.
Okay.
So I grew up in Canada.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we moved to San Diego, and I did high school in San Diego and then college in San Diego. And then I was like, I want to move because I've been here forever.
Right.
So I just moved an hour north because I was like, it's
Not too
different.
far, but it's different. Same, but different.
Yeah.
I love San Diego.
Oh my, you have a San Diego vibe,
Love
Yeah.
New York too. It's not a New York vibe, but it still gives you big city
Yes,
feels.
you
Big
can
city
tell.
feels.
Yeah.
It's very eclectic when it comes to
Yes.
the ethnicities that are there. All different types of food. My wife and I, we love going.
I
there.
love being from there.
It's just a great time.
Yeah, I kind of claim everything.
Okay.
That's like my.
I
that's
feel like
my
that
thing.
was coming next. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Italian, so I'm like, I'm Italian.
Let's go.
And then Canadian, San Diego, like anything you are, I will
What's your
relate
sign?
to you.
What's your sign?
I'm a Pisces.
You're a Pisces. Okay.
Yeah. But my parents were really they got like my charts read when I was young, and like they were into psychics and things.
Yep.
But I'm a Christian, so I don't believe in that a lot.
Yep.
But I do. My mom and I are both Pisces, and then my dad and my husband are the same sign as well. So I think I like didn't know it, but I was looking for my dad in like that same relationship.
That's a whole psychology thing.
Is it? Well, I love my dad. I think he's like my role model. I'm total daddy's little girl. I'm like the greatest thing to him.
That's awesome. So you ended up moving to Orange County.
I did. I moved to Orange County right after college, and I volunteered for Young Life, which is like a Christian outreach for high school kids. And so that's how I became a Christian, was during Young Life. They reached out, like I would go to that, and I felt like I had a role model there, and she really played a huge role in my life because my family life was pretty chaotic, and she was like a source of like stability and peace for me. And so when I graduated, I was like, well, I want to give that to somebody else. Like it totally changed the course of my life. And so I had just moved up here. I found the local Young Life. I walked into the trainer meeting, and I like saw Doug across the room.
Okay, now we're getting into the good stuff.
And I was like, I am in love. And I was kind of still dating someone from San Diego, but I broke up with him. And I hadn't even said a word to Doug. But I was like, we are getting married.
No way, come on.
It was love at first sight for me. For Doug, he called me Linda. My name's Lydia, and he didn't remember my name.
Way to go, Doug.
I've also said that story a million times.
Yeah.
But no, I knew I loved him. And then his roommate asked me out. So I was like, oh no, if I go out with the roommate.
You're gonna kill that.
Yeah. So
You said no to the roommate?
I said, a bunch of my friends are going out to a concert. Why don't you bring your friends?
We should all.
And then he brought.
Why don't you bring your roommate, Doug?
Yeah.
Very specific.
So then he brought Doug, and then Doug realized that he loved me.
Oh, he realized.
I mean,
come on.
Somewhere along the way, he realized. Yeah.
And then, how long ago was that?
So we got married. I was 21, so 22, and then we got married when I was 25.
Okay. Yep.
So yeah, and he was a year older than me.
Yep.
And so we dated for 3 years. He took like over 3 months to kiss me.
Oh, wow.
Just kiss me.
Right.
And I never had that before.
So he moves fast.
Yeah, exactly. I was a Christian in high school, and I like became a Christian in high school, and then he like asked me out, but I like worked. I graduated college. I was 22 years old. So we would go on dates. We weren't little babies.
Right.
And then he would walk me to the door and not like kiss me.
Go for it.
And then it was like New Year's Eve, and it was all these different events that it was like,
hello.
We were kissing.
Okay, yeah.
We were making out. Yeah. And like I loved him.
Yeah.
Like I would just like
dude,
see
I already
him.
love you. We're already married. You don't even know
I want to hold his hand and like be with him.
Yeah.
So he basically took me, he took me to the beach, and he had like a speech kind of prepared.
Oh, wow.
And it was really beautiful. And
this sounds like Doug.
He was just like, I know that you're the one. It was crazy because we hadn't been dating that long, only like 3 months, but he basically was like, this is our first kiss. And I know once we open like the physical door, that's going to be like a whole thing. And so I just wanted like us to be best friends and like that foundation.
Right.
But we were both virgins when we got married. So we've only been with each other, which I think is cool.
That's really cool. It's unheard of.
Yeah,
really cool.
I think that a lot of people are nervous to say that, or think that like you would be weird or somehow like
looked at differently or
I don't know. Like, but it's been like really cool. I think it's funny now being married like 18 years and or 17. I don't know. You lose track. Yeah. But like I go out with all my girlfriends, and I feel like I have the best sex life out of all of them.
And you guys have been,
because we like figured out how to do everything together, and there's no like weird
awkwardness.
I don't know.
We
we don't have any baggage in that area.
Yeah.
So I feel like we were really protected by that, because I'm a little psycho.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I feel like I'd be like nervous or like jealous or like crazy.
Yeah, it's like, what about her, babe? It was 25 years ago.
Yeah, I would be like, I have like a better vibe, right?
Yeah,
so,
no, for sure.
Yeah, so there was none of that. So that's good.
So you guys got married?
So we got married, and we have now 3 boys.
Yes, you do.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
How soon after?
So we waited like 4 years.
Okay.
Because Doug was like, we just want to be in bed for 4 years.
And enjoy each other. Really, yeah.
Yeah, so he didn't want to have kids right away. And so I didn't either. And then all of a sudden, I like started seeing pregnant women everywhere. It was just like in an elevator. It just, all of a sudden, I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I really want to have a baby.
Oh, yeah.
And that had never, I'd always been really driven and had a lot of like aspirations and really wanted to focus on work.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I remember like we were in Hawaii, which is probably why I was seeing babies everywhere, because it's like all
Travel
these
time,
young kids.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, we need to start thinking about having family.
Yeah. And you guys start thinking about it. At this point, what's Doug doing for a living? What are you doing for a living? Were you guys just kind of hanging out, cruising? What do you guys got going on?
No, yeah, we've never been hanging out or cruising. Like we're always been pretty driven. Okay. I had my own business and he had his own business when we met, and then those merged together doing like design. And then, so we were working basically together. It was like 20 years ago. So he designed the like websites and different things, which now is like an app you can do. But at the time, like, so businesses would hire him, and then I did video editing. And so we would kind of work together. I would do like corporate videos and different things for companies. Yeah, so we did a lot of marketing. I guess we were like a boutique marketing firm called Skylab. So we worked together, and then basically, we were like, let's try for a baby. And then I was pregnant like that day. We got pregnant like very easy right away.
Were you guys in Newport?
We were living in Newport,
And then boom.
Boom, we were pregnant. Yeah, it was, I remember telling our parents and telling everyone. So we called his mom, he's one of 5. So when we called his parents, his mom and dad were like, you should do the Bradley method. That was like what they said to us when we told them you're going to have your first grandchild.
Like Bradley Cooper method? What are we looking at?
So the Bradley method is a way to give birth. It's like Lamaze, but it's natural. It's by Dr. Bradley, who was, I think, a doctor on farms. So he like really knew a lot about animals. So he is like, women are animals and you should have a baby
that makes sense
way.
to me.
I was like, okay.
You're an animal, I'm an animal. I'll take it from here.
Yeah, so I was kind of naive, I think, like being young and first kid, and was like, okay. And so we started going to those classes, and it made sense, like their whole thing, which I actually appreciate though, was like your body knows what to do, and you just need to relax and let your body do that.
Do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right.
And so kind of like tried to give you confidence. So I went into my first pregnancy, like for the delivery, wanting to have a birthing center, like being at a birthing center and have a midwife. And my mom was like, you're crazy. That's the worst decision. So then I was like, okay, you can't be there. And you know, she's like my best friend, but I was like, okay, I can't have like any of that negativity.
Right.
But I think for me, and you can only talk from your own experience, but for me, like I think for your first pregnancy, like I wanted to control it. And I think like having a birthing plan and a birthing like list and all these different things, like was my way to make it feel safe, or like I was in control. But in reality, like that, you really can't be married to that, and you have to be open to like what the real plan is, and you have no control over what that's going to be.
Yes. What I'm hearing is that you can prep, you can write this checklist down of things that how I sort of want this thing to go. But what I'm hearing is like it didn't really go that way.
No, well, for me it didn't. Not my first pregnancy.
How did it go?
Well, so I wouldn't dilate, and so I was at the birthing center for like a day and a half. I just couldn't.
Seems like a long time.
Yeah, you're funny. Yeah, it was a long time. So that was a long time to be in excruciating pain. I'd never seen Doug cry. I'm like emotional. I mean, I don't know if you can get that from me, but I like feel everything passionately because I'm Italian. And Doug is like very even keeled, which I love about him. And so he was like in the corner, and I'm like, where are you? And he like came out, and I was like, are you crying right now? Like, stop it.
The one time he decides to be vulnerable, he gets ripped. I'm never crying
again.
I'm
like, why are you crying? He's just like, I hate seeing you in so much pain.
I know.
Yeah, so I think it was hard for him.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that didn't work for me. So I ended up, they had to like break my water, and then they wanted to give me fluids. And so at that point, it just became well, if you're gonna give me IVs and do this whole thing, like, let's go to the hospital.
Do it, yeah.
Like, that doesn't make sense. The whole point is to be like mellow.
Were you at this center, at this point, you're like, all right, we need to go to the, would you guys HOG?
They all decided that I needed to go to the hospital and get like fluid, because I'd been pregnant for so long. And I guess, so my first son's name is Sterling, and you can be breech, but you also can be sunny side up.
Correct.
So he was sunny side up.
Yeah.
So it was all like back labor.
Ooh.
And I think that women don't talk a lot about, like, you kind of just see a movie, you know what I mean? And you're like, oh, it's not really like that, but no one really actually talks. Like, the pain that you get is totally manageable, because you know it's just going to be a minute, and we can do anything.
Yes.
For a minute especially. But it was like a familiar, like, it's like cramps. It's kind of a familiar pain for me.
Yeah.
But the back labor was so foreign.
No epidural.
It didn't, no, not in the birthing center, no.
Oh.
So you have nothing. Like, you're just like on a farm with Dr. Douglas. No,
Dead.
not really, but yeah.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, they switched me, and then honestly, once they switched me, I took a nap, and they kind of, so I think they gave me a lot of drugs, which was not what I wanted, because I obviously just wanted to be present, and I was like a little sleepy, and then when I woke up, I was a little groggy from all the drugs, and so I couldn't. So then basically, it was time to like give birth. And then the most traumatic part for my first son was I couldn't get him out, which is important, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so they had to like take a plunger, that whole thing. But if it pops off, it's only allowed to pop off twice. And your third time, then you go to the C-section. So he popped off twice. So now all of a sudden they called in like an army of people, and it was supposed to be just Doug and I in a birthing center, and now all of a sudden I'm like in a hospital on drugs, like full team of people, and they're like, if he doesn't come this last push, you're going straight into the emergency C-section. Oh. So he came. It was a Hail Mary, and they like got him out, and it was just like amazing.
Boom.
Yeah.
What an amazing feeling.
Oh my gosh!
Right, like the whole emotional. Did Doug cry then?
I mean, yeah. I've seen him cry a lot. Our dog just passed away this year. I definitely saw him cry a lot. I mean, that was 20 years ago. Yeah. But I think like for me, especially with the first, I knew you were going to ask me a lot about pregnancy, and I was trying to think of like what I'd want to say to like women. Yeah. And you mentioned like I love being fit. I love like what I eat and watching that and like feeling strong and feeling in control of my body and like being proud of my body. And I was so, I think, scared even during my pregnancy. Like my son took over my cravings. Like I wanted just to eat grease all the time. And I felt like, oh my gosh, and you're seeing yourself get so big and uncomfortable. Right. And after I had him, like that moment he was out of me, I was in control and I felt like myself again. Okay. And I felt so strong and beautiful. Wow. I just was like, I am so amazing. I just made this perfect little guy. Like it was the most beautiful feeling, even the weeks after. Obviously you like aren't looking your best and a lot is going on there. But I just remember feeling like so proud of myself and secure in a way that I like always pictured. We hear so much of like being insecure, like, oh, your body changes after, like, boo-hoo, these are stretch marks are beautiful and this type of thing. But I don't think anyone really like says like this contentment and joy that kind of like comes from being a mom and like making this baby is so just mind-blowing that you just feel so empowered and like a goddess. Yeah.
That's a great insert on what you just said. I'm like trying to take that all in right now. So you have 3 boys.
I have 3 boys.
You did that 3 times?
Well, no. So the first is always your hardest. Okay. I mean, that's like with anything in life. When you say, like if we did this podcast again tomorrow, it would be like even. Yeah, it'd be
even better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not even better.
Maybe.
No, yeah. My second was way easier. I think your body knows, especially because I had them very close together. So I did like a Kourtney Kardashian where I pulled the baby out. I got to do that with my second. It was so much easier.
Like this?
Yeah.
That's
and you
the thing.
put haven't you seen Kourtney Kardashian has it on her, it's on one of the episodes, I don't know.
I have to admit,
Most girls,
do not follow her.
I don't either.
Should I?
No, but, no, but that was like a big moment. in I don't know, womenhood pregnancies.
Pregnancy, yeah.
Because she showed that, and I was like, it was right around, I think, when I was going to have Maverick, and was like, oh, I want to try to do this. So I like asked my doctor, can I I want to take the baby out. He's like, okay.
Sure
So
enough.
we went first straight to the hospital, got an epidural. Like, we're not messing around this time.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want any of the drugs.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, I just don't want to feel anything.
Correct.
So the second time was so much better for me. We went right to the hospital, and I got an epidural. And then, they were like, he's coming. You reach down. So I reach down, and then you just put him straight on you. So he just comes straight to you, and it's like the skin to skin.
Yeah.
It was so that was amazing and easy breezy.
Third one?
And then the third one was a little bit harder. The doctor kind of made me feel like I had the same doctor, all 3 babies. And he's like really handsome.
Okay.
So I felt like that was a good thing for me. Some of my friends were like, why would you have a really like McDreamy as your doctor?
Yeah.
But for me, I felt like, first of all, it helped the vibe in the room.
Yeah.
And I felt what?
No, go ahead.
Oh, you're going to say?
I was about to say something, but keep going.
What are you going to say?
I don't know yet. I'm pretty good at coming up with stuff, but I'm going to let you finish.
Okay, yeah, no, so I felt like it'd make me kind of be on my best behavior.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like, you're cute, like, so I want to be like on my best behavior also. So it was fine. Yeah, he looked like JFK Jr. But anyways, so so I recommend getting a good-looking doctor for girls.
Oh, wow, that's a good. Okay.
Yeah.
Good-looking doctor if you can.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's important.
Yes.
Yeah, but anyways, he was very much just like, hey, you've already done this twice. I have dinner plans. Like, let's move this along. Because he thought that it was going to be fast.
Right.
And he did have to miss his dinner plans. So just because it was your third doesn't mean that it's just falling out. But I have heard that a lot of times they do that. For me, it did not do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ages and names of the boys.
So I have a 14-year-old named Sterling,
Yep.
and that was my maiden name. So that's cool that I get to carry on
Okay.
because my name was Lydia Sterling, and that was like really hard to give up my last name,
My wife had the
especially
same
for
thing.
McLaughlin.
Yeah, that's a great. last
No,
name.
Lydia Sterling's better.
No, Sterling. I see. That's
Yeah.
a great name. Sterling just sounds
So good.
stirred. 'Cause
Yes,
it was like
I loved being Lydia Sterling. So his name is Sterling, and actually Sterling means like, obviously like sterling silver, but it means kind of like of excellence.
Yeah.
And he has an excellent standard for all that he does. So he is such a Sterling.
Okay.
And I love him. Your firstborn is
I know.
special. And then Maverick is my second son. He's 12. And I
Okay.
named him Maverick after my grandfather, who was a Maverick. And Maverick is a Maverick, so that also was
Makes sense.
pretty prophetic.
Okay.
He's very confident and the most like me out of all my kids.
Okay.
So we butt heads the most.
Okay.
And I think Doug loves him the most because it reminds him of me, I think.
Yeah.
And then my littlest guy, his name is Roman, and he is 8. And I'm named after a woman, my great-grandmother, Lydia Romano.
Okay.
So that was like an honor to her
right.
and my namesake, because I wanted to have a girl,
Okay.
and I didn't. And so I have 3 boys, but it's meant to be, and
Right.
it's okay.
You would have been a great girl mom.
Thanks.
I think.
Well, we're seeing The Little Mermaid tonight,
Okay.
so I still like do everything I want to do anyways. My 14-year-old is like excited to go see The Little Mermaid. I just make them kind of girly, and I think that they're all going to be really good husbands. I feel like
I think
need.
they get a good example in front of them.
Well, I thank you. But I feel like it's important, like my brothers had me and a sister, and there's no other woman in the house, but I know that I'm a lot, and I'm like enough for them to understand
Look at
all
that
of
self-assessment.
women.
I know that I'm a lot.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I am. Sometimes Doug's like, it's a lot.
Yeah. I'm the same way at home. I'm a lot. Just a lot of energy.
Yeah.
My wife's very calm, cool, collective, introvert for sure. Interesting enough, she's a therapist, so she likes talking to people to some degree.
Yeah.
But for the most part, she just rather kind of just homebody, hang out with the family and kids. But I'm a lot too as well. And sometimes she'll tell me, hey, can you just go in the other room? You got a lot going on right now.
Just this weekend, Maverick had a soccer game, and Doug was like, you're yelling. It sounds like he's in trouble. I'm like, I'm cheering him on. He's like, dude, reel it in.
That's going to be me on the sidelines. let's go.
Oh my gosh, it's like
warm-ups.
AYSO. You're like, I'm
I-
sorry. And then afterwards, I'm like, Mavi, was I a lot? He's like, you're a lot. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I gotta like
Tone it down.
But you want to be you
I
and
know.
just shine
I
and
know.
be like intense.
But it's not about us. It's
I
about them.
know it is about me though.
That's why I like you. That's how I knew. I say the same thing, but it is about me. We don't get there without.
Yeah, it's my day.
Yeah. Somehow or another, we make it about us.
Oh, well, yeah.
You know, right?
Well, someone was like, even in business or in anything, but like everyone's thinking about themselves basically 80% of the time.
Right.
And I actually talk to a lot of women also. I lead a lot of Bible studies in different groups.
You do.
And a lot of times girls are so insecure, but it's about like things that no one's gonna notice. Even like weight, which I mean, you can relate to obviously. Like I wanna just lose 3 pounds or I'm a size 28 and I wanna be a 27 and you're like, I would not notice if you walked in in a size smaller, but you're gonna obsess and ruin the next 4 months. Like, just be stoked.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
That's a good point.
Just be you.
Yeah. I think people have a hard enough time being themselves though these days.
Oh yeah, I know that, and I think that's why I'm a lot, because I mean that's the way I am, and I'm just like I feel that I've been set free to just be myself.
It's a great feeling. It's very liberating.
And it makes people around you want to be themselves too
Yeah.
and feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Like I can feel when people are
Holding back.
or just like insecure,
Yeah.
and then it makes you feel uncomfortable because of their
Because
insecurity.
you're kind of mirroring how they're like,
Yeah.
maybe I should tone it down a little bit
Yeah.
because I'm a lot for them. I feel that too.
Yeah.
But then when I'm around my tribe like this, I feel I can continue to be me, maybe even a little bit more.
Yeah.
And finally get it out. I'm like, all right,
Bringing
that
out
was-
like the craziness.
Ah, yeah, great.
Yeah.
And then I go home and I'm sort of exhausted by myself, because I've given out so much juice to everybody else.
Oh, totally.
An extrovert at the highest level. People fuel me for sure. I mean, look at the industry I'm in. I've been in it for almost 20 years now. And so being around people gives me absolute energy, like literally fills my tank when I leave the house. But by the end of the day, I'm like gassed out though too. Like, I've used all my gas.
Well, of course.
But I don't mind it. That's how I like red.
You want to go out again the next day.
I gotta sleep, eat,
Yeah.
refuel, and then I'm ready for more people the next day. It does get exhausting though from time to time. And I think my wife's sort of the opposite, where she starts off with a full tank, and then every sort of interaction, she sort of gets depleted by that, right? When I'm trying to fill my tank and she's trying to deplete. That's how I sort of look at the introverts and extroverts and how we sort of fuel one another. I married an introvert. Did you sort of?
Well, so I
of?
think I'm an extroverted introvert.
Okay.
So I'm really outgoing, but I like being by myself, and I don't love. I'm trying to have a heart for people.
Go ahead, say it. Nobody cares anyway.
But I don't love some people.
Yeah. Can we say names?
No, I'm just trying to have a heart for people.
Yeah.
I really want to have a bigger heart for people. But I don't get energy from being around people. I get exhausted from that. But I have put myself in positions to be around people.
Yeah.
Whereas Doug is different. He's like shy or quiet, but he's an extrovert. So we are opposite, but we're like different.
But the same.
Yeah.
Same, but different.
Yeah.
You've mentioned quite a bit since we've been talking about really one topic, and I want to go into it, and that's your faith.
Yay.
And you are a Christian. You're a devout Christian. You're someone that takes your faith very, very seriously.
Yeah.
Right? You also lead a couple different women sort of like things, I don't know what else to call it, but where you get to empower women. You guys get to talk internally with one another.
Yeah.
Sort of these campfire discussions, right?
Exactly.
About perhaps the Bible, perhaps the message that it's in there, how that serves you daily, weekly, your marriage, your relationships, things like that. How did you get into you mentioned earlier, I moved up here, joined this sort of thing going on, and I sort of dove into that. But then you also met Doug, who shared the same faith.
Yes, yeah.
And then how did you guys sort of, not physically marry, but how do you guys marry each other's Christianity, and how do you guys marry each other's faith? How'd that come about?
Yeah. Well, there's so much there to cover. I like it.
I know, there's a lot to unpack, but I would let's take it from that point. It's like, hey, I'm a Christian, you're a Christian.
Okay.
There's some differences there sometimes, as you know.
Yes.
Right?
Well, we were raised very different.
Okay.
So my family, I mentioned, but like my mom and dad were hippies. And so my mom was like Italian Catholic because it was more like her culture.
Okay.
So she put me in Catholic school, but it wasn't like because of faith, it was because of culture more. And so it was like First Holy Communion, like, yay, you're in a dress. So I had like gone to church and everything, but I just didn't like understand, I guess, like having your faith actually be like important or building your life on that. And how does that really look like? And I was around like a lot of, my dad really talked a lot about reincarnation. He had been to India and studied a lot of like Eastern philosophies. So I think growing up, it was like everything was accepted and everything was true. And my dad, we even have this huge painting in my house where it's a person falling off a cliff dying. And then there's the 3 main religions of like angels pulling him. And so the idea was that each one would take him to the same place depending on where their faith was. So that was like how I was raised. And I think that that's why like I'm very comfortable talking to anyone of any faith, because I know a little bit about all different faiths. And then in college, I was a theology minor. I just am very fascinated with religion and faith. And I think also being exposed to a lot of highly successful people and like movie stars and like directors or famous people, rich people, but like still feeling like there was this underlying, like they're on drugs and they're not satisfied and they're cheating on, like there was a lot of like dysfunction that I would see, that I just was like, what's it about? Like if it's not about what the world's telling me to pursue, then what is it about? Which leads you to God, right? No matter what. So I think as a kid, I was always like pretty
intrigued.
Yeah, like seeking of like, okay, what am I gonna pursue? Yeah. And so, I got invited to Young Life, and I went because of the senior I had a crush on was going. So I was like, oh, all the cute boys go. I'm like so in. I actually went the first time with a 40 of Old E, because I was a little bit gangster when I was little.
Let's go. 40 of Old E.
Yeah, because it was like Snoop Dogg time. So we used to go to the 7-Eleven and we would ask anyone that would walk in, we'd be like, $5 and buy me a 40. You keep the change.
I used to drink the Mickeys, the green one.
Oh yeah. And I would think like, I'm going to so do this. When I'm 21 and a 12-year-old asks me, I'm in.
I'm going to help him out.
Yeah. And then now I know
now
better.
I'm like,
no, I don't want to get arrested.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But anyways, usually we got way more yeses than nos. So whatever. I was lost, and I like remember going to this youth group thing and bringing like a bottle of 40 with me, like, and all my friends, like, cool, Monday night. And so
Lydia Rosa with the 40. I'm like, I love it.
It was San Diego.
Yeah, let's go.
And I had an older brother, and my older brother also was like, pretty bad. Like he just was a partier. And so I was exposed to like a lot of nonsense young, because that sounds young, but basically in like 7th grade,
that is young,
we would just have like drug dealers at our house all the time. There was like a lot of stuff happening in my household because of my brother, because my parents, but my brother.
I want to be clear.
My parents just weren't around. So anyways, I went there, and I was intrigued by it. And I was like, oh, this is really fun. And it created an atmosphere that allowed kids to be kids, especially even now today. I think so many kids like are trying to be cool. And there's like, you need to just be allowed to be silly and not care and like feel accepted. And this place was like a safe place that did that. And so I wanted to keep going back, not necessarily because it was church, but just because I enjoyed being there. And so I kept going back, and it was just really fun and silly and light. But then they started talking about Jesus like at the end, and what they were saying was like making sense to me. So I started seeking it more and more. And then basically I became a Christian that summer. I went to a camp and gave my life to God. So that's like where you say like, yes, I want to give my life to God, and I want to pursue him. Right. So that was my high school career kind of after that, after my freshman year, was like a turning point for me. And I was like, I'm going to be a virgin. I'm going to try not to drink my 40 oldies anymore.
Try my best.
And
that's all anyone can ever ask for. Try your best.
God is good. So, so it changed my life. The more I read scripture, the more it like made sense to me, and it just made my life make sense. And so when I came up here, Doug came from a very conservative family. Like his parents never drank.
Okay.
His dad was a superintendent of high school.
Okay.
So my parents are like known as hippies. My first memory is my mom smoking pot.
Right.
And then his parents like don't even drink. And so we are totally different, even though our faiths are the same. But our upbringing was totally different. Like when I met Doug, he didn't drink. He had never had a sip of alcohol.
No way.
Yeah. And so I called my mom. She was living in San Diego. And I was like, Mom, I'm in love with this guy. And she was like, oh, he hasn't kissed you. He's gay. She has a thing for that, I guess.
Yeah. Doesn't kiss you? Gay.
Yeah. And I was like, no, there's chemistry there.
Yeah.
He's just like, I don't know what's happening. And then I was like, but he doesn't drink. And so please, like, when I introduce you guys, like, be mellow.
Yeah.
So we walk in, we drive down to San Diego. He's going to meet my parents. And she had lined up shots and was like, come on, Doug. Like, you don't know us. Like, we're fun. Like,
your mom's fun.
Yeah,
Your
she's
mom's
a
really
good
fun.
time.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, I felt good. I feel good about it because he knew what he was getting into out the gate.
Yeah.
There is no, like.
On the drive there, we were like, hey, I just want to give you a couple pointers, a couple heads up about my mom, about my dad.
My mom is my best friend.
Yeah,
She's so important to me. So I definitely have talked about her a lot to him. So he knew. And you meet her and she's like sprinkling fairy dust on you. She's like a good time.
Yeah.
So she's a big personality.
So you guys go into this relationship, this marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two Christians. How much of your faith has sort of helped you and guide you to who you are today? Not only as a mom, entrepreneur, businesswoman, you're a lot of different things. All those hats. How much has your faith helped you?
I mean, I would say everything. I don't know how people survive without a faith. And Jesus is real, and the Bible is real, and like his words, the words in the Bible, you can apply today to your life, and it's just changed everything.
Yeah.
I think from an outside point of view, I just turned 42 years ago. I'm 42. And my 40s, like, we got our dream house. I have my dream car. Like, we have these 3 boys that are healthy. My marriage is great. Like, our work is going well. So from an outside perspective, I don't say all this to sound obnoxious, but I think, like, from an outside perspective, you can just be like, oh, she has it all. But I think behind that, like, my mom got really sick this year. We thought she was going to die. The doctors gave her 5 months.
Wow.
Like, I mean, I can go down a list of things that happen. You can't protect yourself from life or from trials or from hardships. And I think that no matter what you do or how much you strive or plan, just like your birth plan.
Right.
But like if you build your relationships and like the foundation of who you are in your life on the Lord, I would say that like there's this beautiful song that like the wind can come and the storm can come, but if you're built like on a rock, like it can't shake you.
Wow.
And like I had, it's not fun being like in a hospital every day, like getting radiation, watching your mom, like, but you still have a sense of joy in the middle of that. Like you still have a sense of peace, and that can only come from God, I think, and come from your faith. And I'm really outspoken with it because I just don't think there are enough people that are, and I think that people don't realize or they haven't tapped into their like that spiritual side to them. And I know it's changed my life. Like I know that I wouldn't be where I am without my faith. And I want that for other people, and I want them to experience the same power.
Look at you.
So I do love people.
Look at you. Do love people. Come full circle.
Yeah.
Like I said, I do love people.
Yeah.
You do love people.
Yeah, that's why I do. I do love people. I just want them to be set free. And I think so many people are like, oh, they like compartmentalize their life, but everything is spiritual. Like we are spiritual beings in a physical reality.
I agree.
So like, of course, like the world matters, and like our bodies take care of our bodies. Like we can have physical desires and physical like wants, satisfactions, even like a great meal, like a good sex, like all of these things are great. But like at the end of the day, it's fleeting. Like you need another meal, you need to have sex again, like whatever it is. Whereas like with the Lord and the relationship with him, like is the best thing ever.
Wow, your take on your faith is incredible. And the conviction that you have behind that is it's even bigger.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Well, I felt called this year. I wrote a book on joy.
Okay.
And I thought it was so funny because I'm writing this book. I felt called and led to do this. I got like a publisher. I'm going to be in Target and Walmart and Barnes & Noble.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that. Let's go.
So it's there. Get it.
What is it?
It's called Joyful.
Okay, Joyful.
Yeah, by Lydia.
Okay.
Yep, go to Target and get it. Or Amazon.
Okay.
But the year I wrote it was like the hardest year ever. My mom got so sick. And so it was so interesting being like, oh my gosh, I'm writing this book on joy. Telling everyone how to be joy when I want to just be in a ball and cry. Right. But the joy doesn't come from even like the weather, you know, like we have to be our own sunshine.
I agree with you. Wow. Your perspective. You need to start a podcast and just be tons of positivity.
I'm here. I'm here right now.
I want to go into Housewives.
Okay. Talk about joy.
The show.
I was on The Real Housewives of Orange County.
Yes, you were.
Yeah.
Yes, you were. What season?
Just twice. I was on season 8, and then I left. And they said, you're crazy for leaving. This is lightning in a bottle. Andy Cohen himself called and was like, you can't quit. No one quits this.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know. I'm sorry. I'm different.
I know, but I quit.
I gotta go.
Yeah.
But then we had our third kid, and then I went back again for season 12.
Right.
And so.
First season on there, what was your experience like? What was that even? I mean, did it change some things for you?
Oh my gosh, it was awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a great experience.
Who else was
Anyone
on the
should
show?
do it that can do it. So my first season was like kind of the all-star cast, I feel like, because it was Vicky, Tamra, Gretchen, me, Alexis, and Heather Dubrow.
That sounds like a lineup.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was a good year. And then when I went back again, it was like Heather was gone.
Yeah.
And Alexis and Gretchen were gone, and then it was Kelly Dodd, and Megan Edwards, and Peggy.
Oh, love Peggy.
Yeah, Deco, Peggy.
Oh, she's such a. I met her like 12 years ago. She's been a sweetheart then. She's a sweetheart now.
Yes, she's a good girl.
We'll DM from time to time. She's just a great person.
I mean, I was friends with her, which was kind of why I got ousted on this show, because everyone kind of goes against someone every season.
Right.
So they were going against Peggy this season 12, I know.
And you had her back?
I did, yeah.
You were like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing?
No.
Right? Any crying on the show for you?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know. I feel everything a lot. Okay, so they asked me to do the show, and I basically was like, I don't think I'm doing it. And then Doug's like, you're totally doing it. It's going to be so good for business.
Right.
Plus, like, you can be a light and use it as a platform.
Right.
And my brother, I'll never forget, I have 2 brothers. My oldest brother was like, I bet it's all just for show and that they all really like each other and you have like margaritas after. And I was like, okay, yeah, you're right.
That makes sense from an outside perspective.
Yeah, I was like,
that makes sense.
They're
it's a
hamming it up, like, be
yeah,
mean to me,
yeah.
but then afterwards, like, we're bros. Like, but like,
Yeah.
I kind of don't like you, but it's fine.
Yeah.
No, that is not the case.
Like, we really don't care for one another.
No, they are horrible.
Oh, man.
They're like worse off because there's like dynamics and egos and like producers and so much stuff that you don't see on the show. So a lot of times what they're fighting about on the show isn't really what they're fighting about. They're fighting about something that they can't really talk about. So like those emotions are real. They really don't like each other, but it might not be because like you're drinking LaCroix. It might be because you hooked up with my friend, you know, and I can't say that on, but then what happens is like I can say anything about you and people might believe it.
I know,
and
that's wild.
So that's why I left kind of, because then it becomes like one of the girls alleged that the husband beat her. Mm-hmm. And so then
that's a big deal.
It was such a big deal when I heard it. I like started crying because it was like they have children. Yeah. That's going out now nationally. And so then I would go anywhere and I would have strangers come up to me and be like, is it true that he beats her?
Yeah. Oh.
And you're just like, oh my gosh.
You opened up Pandora's box. Not you, but that.
No, so that was fearful to me that like that they could say anything and that people would question it.
Right.
It could be anything. It could be like Lydia is an alien. And then there'd be someone out there that's like, is she?
Yeah.
She might be an alien. And you're like, oh my gosh, I don't trust some of the girls on here. Like they don't have a moral compass. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that was hard for me. Like, what am I risking?
Fame
like,
and money for...
Yeah. So the first,
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
first season, I was like, oh, I'm going to do it. It's going to be fun, and I can be a light.
Right.
And then when they asked me to be back, I wanted to do it again because it's so much money and you're famous. And fame is addicting.
Yes.
It's like super fun,
Okay.
but also scary.
Okay.
Like I remember being.
How was it fun? Let's go over that real quick.
Okay.
And I'm glad that you're talking about this, like being famous and people knowing who I am. There's some fun to it.
Oh, it's totally fun. But it's also weird. Like I was in the car. I'll never forget this one. And I was in the car and someone started taking pictures of me at the stoplight next to me. And I remember thinking, did I ruin my life? Because it's like, there's times where it's fun to be famous. Like if I'm done up and I'm at a party, or you get to go to the front seat, or the perks of it.
Yes.
But if like your kid's having a meltdown and someone's videoing you, or the trolls that come out on social media, or just it's a lot to carry. Yeah. I'm not complaining about it because I knew that I didn't want it anymore, so I was able to leave it.
Yeah.
But like for some of the girls, I think I noticed that it becomes a drug and like an addiction, and then basically they'll do anything to keep it going.
Right.
And so that's hard to be around, I think, which is why I would say so many of their marriages kind of fall apart in different things, because they lose themselves. But it's like a big train that just comes into your life, and so it just like can overtake you.
Wow.
It's temptation? A lot. It's an addiction. Oh, 100%. I mean, and you see that on Instagram.
There's temptation within that though too, right? Like temptation to do different things, and you're getting more attention.
Well, this was before, I was on it before Instacart, because now, and Instacart, where you can go to the grocery store.
Okay, yeah.
So I used to have to go to the grocery store, but I'm like so mellow as a person. I know I'm intense, but I'm also like free to be myself. But all of a sudden, like Doug's noticing that I'm like carrying anytime I leave the house.
Right.
Like going to the grocery store, I would totally not think about it. But now all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I just came from the gym. I'm not going to go to the grocery store. Someone's wanting a picture. They're going to post that online and tag it.
Right.
Like you start you start changing. That would be like a little change.
Yeah,
but then it like starts adding up, where all of a sudden you think that's another thing. Like you think everyone's filming you. I remember hanging out with one of the girls before I was on the show, and they were on the show already, and we were walking and someone like at the table was filming, but she was convinced that they were filming her, and I was like, oh my gosh, like they're not filming you, calm down. Yeah. But then after being on the show, I was like, oh, they probably were.
Yeah. So that was season. Well, how about the second season? How'd that come about?
So then I felt like we left. We had another kid. I needed to like get my groundings again, because I felt like I was starting to slip away in care. And then every time they cast, they kind of would circle back, like you want to come back or whatever. So I always had a friendly relationship with the production. And then I had just had Roman. I was always like, no, we're having a baby. I'm pregnant. I have a new baby. Like, I'm not doing it. But then once Roman was like 2, I was like, okay, like I'll come in and take an interview. Yeah. So I went back in, and then Doug and I were just starting Nobleman. Okay. So we both like sat down and were like, let's do it for 1 season. So we like knew our game plan. Like, let's just go back and talk about Nobleman the whole time. Yeah, basically. So if you look at the scenes I'm in, like everything is like Nobleman is like everywhere. Yeah. We did like a launch party for Nobleman. Yeah. I was still involved. Like I had to obviously be on the show and not be boring. But my goal was really just to launch our business. Yeah. So it was more of a business decision, which I think was good. Also, I didn't like buy into any of it because I knew I wasn't making a career out of it. Right. Yeah. And you guys are building Nobleman. I wanted to go into the Nobleman magazine. It's an incredible magazine. It's a national rollout. You guys rolled out nationally a couple of years ago, right? Yep. So we've been in business 6 years. It's a men's magazine. It's a luxury magazine. It's made in California. Yes, it is. So it's like the finest paper. We want people to be proud, like men. So we want to be GQ, but proud. The whole thing is style and substance. And going out of a gentleman never goes out of style. Ooh. So when having 3 boys, like we want to have this be a legacy for them. Yep. So like raising little noblemen. Okay. So the articles always try to have some sort of a heart on them. Okay. So like, you know, how to be a good dad would be an article. Obviously there's like what watches to buy and like what yacht, and but it's kind of things to talk to for like I really think our culture is trying to demasculine. Yeah, thank you. And I just believe in like females and being feminine, and then men to be masculine and strong and like all of those things. So we really love that. And who the movie stars that we choose on our covers also like are inspiring.
Very inspiring.
It's like Hugh Jackman, Matt Damon. Yeah, we have good guys. We get pitched a lot of bad guys, not bad guys, but like famous men that you like do a quick Google search and you're like, oh, he has a scandal. Because the word nobleman like is right over their head.
Correct.
So that it has to have like some sort of like aspiration and inspiration.
Right.
So
I think it's
great.
an incredible magazine.
Thanks.
I've had the pleasure of being featured in your magazine.
Yeah.
I want to say issue 3.
Yeah.
I was just opening up BOXHAUS, and you guys asked me to be featured in the magazine. It was a great honor, that's for sure.
Oh, you're the best.
It was fun. We shot it at Neiman Marcus.
Yeah.
And man, what a great time that was.
It was fun. We'll have to do that again and round up.
And how many issues now?
So we're on issue 22.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so we do 4 a year, so it's quarterly magazine, and we have like great sponsors and great advertisers like Rolls-Royce and you know all the best.
Yes.
So it's fun. We like working with a lot of good people. I love what I do. Every day is different. But the Chat GPT now is actually amazing for us.
Wild. We use it too.
It's I mean, how can you not?
You have to.
Yeah, you have to embrace.
to.
It's like being like, I'm not going to use the internet. I'm going to still use the encyclopedia. It's like, no, who are you?
You can, but you're not going to go for
No,
it.
I was so scared to tell my kids about it.
Yeah,
because I kind of bookend. Like, I have a 14-year-old, so he knows how to write.
Right.
And my 2-year-old, or my 2nd grader, I don't want him to know.
Of course.
But they already knew.
They know.
Yeah. Once I told them, they were like, Mom.
We use it. I use it quite a bit. I still try to keep it. It's me. But I mean, just the way it gets put together.
So if I get a text from you, I'll be like,
it's ChatGPT. I don't even. If it sounds professional and the vernacular's on point, it's probably
it's not
me.
you.
Yeah,
you just add in a couple emojis.
A couple emojis and a little boxy emoji, and that's it.
No, you gotta embrace what's happening around you.
I agree.
Yeah.
So Nobleman's doing its thing.
Yes.
There was a Nobu deal that went down not too long ago.
Yeah.
Just touch on that real quick.
Yeah, so Doug and I got tapped into doing the Nobu magazine. So Nobu also has restaurants and they have hotels as well. So we had the pleasure of interviewing Robert De Niro and Chef Nobu. And they like loved Nobleman so much because when we interview people, we give them our magazines. They were like, we want to hire you guys to do the Nobu magazine.
Wow.
So we launched that. And then now they're on, we did 2 issues of that and then we actually sold it. So now we launched it for them and they're doing issue 3. They're moving on.
Yeah, but you still have Nobleman, correct?
Yeah, we still have Nobleman.
And that's going to be one of the things we hopefully give off to the kids.
Yeah, Nobleman we've had like people actually that when they wanted to buy Nobu were interested in buying Nobleman.
Yeah.
And we were like, it was actually a cool conversation because it's like, what would it be worth?
Yeah.
But we were both just like, we want to give it to the kids. We love it. There's no real number. Like we're living our dream. So why would we sell it? I'm like literally going to Vegas next week and like interviewing some chefs for Nobleman. We're gonna do more events now that events are back. So we want to have a yearly Noble Food and Wine Festival.
I love your events. Can I just say that?
Thank you. I like love connecting people and I love like meeting different people and having fun.
The great part about your guys' events, I mean, going to them for years, is that a lot of people that you're familiar with, people that you see. It's a really good feeling to see familiar faces. That's one thing. 2, the spread is always,
thank you.
I mean, top notch, right?
All those things matters. The glassware, the ice.
Correct, right?
All of it. Detail.
The step and repeat, incredible. The people, the way they're dressed up to the nines. And I love putting on a good suit.
Yes.
Everybody's sporting their best watch and everybody's on.
Well, you get off on being around people. I do.
I like love being around people and catching up and seeing what people are doing.
Yes.
And it's just it's like the Great Gatsby for me.
Yes.
For a few hours.
Yeah, that's what we like to do. I mean, I love that you said that. So we want to do a yearly event and you can we're going to invite all our people, but we have so many people that want to come. So we're also it's our first one. We're going to see how it is and you can buy a ticket. Ooh. So we're expanding a little bit.
People will do it because there's a lot of people that want to go to these events, but
they don't. I don't know them. Yeah, but I want to know you. Yeah. So come and then see.
And your list is pretty exclusive. I feel like.
Yeah.
I personally enjoy getting a message from
Oh, you're so
and
sweet.
you personally invite.
I
I think
love
you're personally, maybe it's
people.
ChatGPT.
No,
I don't know.
it's me.
I think it's ChatGPT.
They
But I get
haven't
an invite
invented
from
that
her,
app yet.
every quarter or so.
Yes.
Andre, here's the event.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude,
It's
yes.
so fun. We have good events.
I know you
I
do.
love, like, my whole thing is just like celebrating life
Yep.
and not taking it all too serious, and it
Yeah.
can be taken away. And like, so if you have kind of
Yeah.
your foundation of your family,
Yeah.
your faith,
Yep.
your friends,
Yeah.
then like all the rest of it is just fun.
And I love a good cocktail. One time you guys had an event that's like $25 million home. It was actually during COVID. And
We got reamed for that.
the cops, didn't the
Well,
helicopter come out?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it was during COVID.
I know. Who cares?
It was fine. No one got COVID and died, not
no.
even a grandmother.
There
So
you
we
go.
were fine.
But I remember
History's on
inside the
side.
house and we were doing caviar shots with vodka.
Yes.
And I was like, let's go. I might even still have some videos of it. So
Oh my gosh, let me see these. That
I'll
was
send them to
so
you.
fun.
Yeah, it was a really good time.
We're doing a caviar bar at the Food and Wine for
Caviar.
sure.
Yeah, love
Yeah,
caviar.
I just like to think of random things that I'd want to see that you can't see anywhere else,
Right.
and like
Yeah.
blow people's mind.
And that is exactly what you do. Lydia, couple round off questions. Just kind of yes, no, maybe so.
Got it.
Favorite color?
Purple. Lydia's the dealer of purple cloth. Purple's royalty.
Yes, it is. Orange
the
County
highest
Housewives
chakra.
show comes and they ask you to do a show, another season. What do you do?
I would say let's do a season on Nobleman and have it be my cast and crew, and you
Yeah.
could be on it.
Dead. Favorite car?
Oh, I'm a Ferrari.
Yep. Any specific one?
I mean, I love all of them, but
Favorite watch
the red
brand?
one, Rolex,
Ooh. Favorite shoe brand?
Louboutins.
Ooh.
Everyone says all of these. Sorry,
you
I'm
have
not
a-
original.
If you could have one more baby, would you?
No. No.
You wanted a girl?
I wanted a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
No
feel
regrets?
at peace about it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're good with it.
We do a thing called safe families where
Okay.
we get a kid for a couple nights, like babies,
Right.
like every now and again. So that kind of gives me my kick. And every time I get one, I'm like, oh yeah, I do not want this.
Right?
Oh
Like,
my
here
gosh,
you go.
we're out of the phase. Like
I
my
know.
son
I'm in
is
it.
8. You're in it. It
I'm on
is,
a
and
4
I
and a
think when you're
2.
in it, like keep them coming. But once you get out of it, because it's like, what's an
know.
extra diaper? You're already
Yeah.
going to the park. I'm not
Correct.
going to the park,
Yeah.
and I have no diapers. I have no
know.
snacks. Did you
I
see how
got
small
water
my
bottles.
purse
I
was?
got all kinds of
Like
stuff.
I'm out of that phase.
We
to
got
go
all the
back
just
in
in
it.
case shit.
No,
Like, it's always,
I've
just
been
in
there.
case. But what about the 2 more underwear, 2 more
Totally.
diapers, 2 more this? We're like 20
It's
minutes
a
later, we still haven't
season.
left the house.
It's a season, and you once you're out of it, it's
I
hard to go
know,
back into it.
I know.
So yeah.
You got a vacation. If you had a vacation somewhere, you haven't been yet, where would you want to go?
Oh, I mean, I don't know if it's a vacation, but I want to go to Jerusalem.
Okay.
I want to go to the Wailing Wall.
Maybe second, third, fourth home. If you had another home, where would it be? Anywhere in the world.
Oh,
Live.
geez. I guess Punta Mita. I love Mexico.
Do you? What about it?
The people, the feeling, how close it is to here, but it's like a whole other world. And just like, you're just
tropicalness
there.
to
I
it,
just
right?
picture like paradise.
Yeah.
And I love Punta Mita. I'm like a good time in Punta Mita.
Maybe next time we'll do an interview on you and your
Oh my
experience
gosh,
with the
yes,
Newport.
forget about it. It's
Well, I'm
so
going to
fun.
have Jonathan here the next time you guys have an event. I'm having him come with me and
Oh, cool.
do some BTS for
Okay.
us
Oh,
at the
fun.
next event.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
get
yeah.
some footage you guys may not get.
I
Get some
love
fun
it.
stuff.
Yes,
So
invite.
we are going to wrap this thing up. But before we wrap this thing up, I really, really, really did enjoy talking to you about your faith.
Oh, thanks.
Absolutely, yeah.
I
love
felt
the
like now I
story.
want to do it talking to you, asking you questions.
Oh man, I've been getting that a lot too.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed having the conversation about that. I didn't know too much about Doug when it came to how you guys met and sort of his faith too as well, and how you guys came together. The kids is great too as well. Do you have any final messages for people that are watching? Just about life, whether it's faith,
Yeah.
if you're going through something or being positive, or you could tap in Nobleman one more time if you want. It's all good.
I think the biggest one is like to believe in yourself. I really am a big fan of like shining and just beating to your
Yeah.
own drum.
Right.
And I love, I guess the verse is like, God can do more than you can ask or imagine. And I would say my faith is, in my life is a testimony to that, of like, I never imagined I'd be on a reality show, but that opened a lot of doors for me. And so I think sometimes like seeing where you're being led and trusting your destiny and like trusting God's plan for you and walking through those doors is really powerful.
Wow. Trusting your destiny, trusting God's work, right? And what he has in store for you. That's
Yeah.
huge. Well, I want to thank you so much, Lydia, for coming.
Thank
We really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank
Let's
you.
wrap it up. Give me a hug.
Yay!
I'm doing this podcast for a lot of different reasons, but more than anything, I want to get perspective on new mothers, current mothers, mothers that are excited, mothers that are indifferent, mothers that are looking to be incredible moms. I want to get all those emotions, all those feelings, all those conversations on the table, all to say that at the end of the day, nobody fucking cares.